Now that we've gone through the process of installing and configuring our audit environment, it's now time to bring our systems in that we're going to audit. Now we're going to do one Windows system and one Unix system for this demonstration. So before I do that, in the Audit Manager, I do have options here for audited systems. One can be system-based, one can be vault-based. Now keep in mind with the vault, this is going to require privileged access service, which we'll talk about in a later technical demonstration. So if we select audited systems, you'll notice that we don't have any systems listed. So we need to go ahead and begin the process of applying audit features to those systems. So I'm going to switch over to my app server. So I've switched over to my application server. I'm going to launch the Centrify agent, which we installed as part of the direct control or authentication and privilege elevation tasks. If this is a system that you're not including in authentication and privilege elevation, you'll have to install the Centrify agent and apply the appropriate service. But since we've already installed the Centrify agent, all we have to do is add the service. So what we'll do is we'll come over here to the Centrify agent configuration. And as you can see here, we already have some enabled services. The Centrify Identity Services platform, which applies to our privileged access service in our portal, and privilege elevation service, which once again applies to authentication and privilege elevation. But we need to add a new service. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Add Service, and there's only going to be one available, and that's the Centrify Audit and Monitoring Service. If we haven't implemented the Audit and Monitoring Service and configured it, this service will not be available. But since we do have it implemented, we'll go ahead and select it. We'll click OK. We'll be prompted for a specific audit installation to choose. We only have one, so we're going to select it and click Next. And now, as you can see, we've enabled this system for auditing. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and leave this intact, leave this up and running. I'm also going to launch a couple of other applications. Since this system is now being audited, we want to be able to review what's going on this system. So I'm going to simply bring this over to the right, and we're going to launch just a couple of applications. We'll start with PowerShell, and I'll go ahead and reduce the size of this one. We'll go ahead and launch Control Panel, and we'll go ahead and launch Notepad. Now that we have all of these particular applications open, we'll go ahead and just simply leave the system as it is. At least for this part of the demonstration, we will review this in a later demonstration. Now that we've enabled audit and monitoring for a Windows server, now let's take a look at a Unix server. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back over to my management server. So now I'm back on my Centrify administration system, and I'm going to launch PuTTY so that I can log into the help desk, which is a Unix-based system. Now for this technical demonstration, I'm simply going to log in as root. You don't have to use the root account. You can use an account that has privileges that allows you to install applications. But to make this a little easier for this technical demonstration, I'm simply going to use the root account. Okay, so now that I'm logged in, I'm going to run two commands. The first is going to be, what is my current Centrify application status for this particular Unix system? So since this is a CentOS system, I'm just going to use the yum command, and we're going to do a list of all Centrify applications. And now, as you can see, I already have Centrify DC, or the direct control agent, installed. This is part of my installed packages. But I also have available packages, and the one that I need to install is the Centrify Direct Audit. Is the Centrify Direct Audit agent. So now that I know this, I can go ahead and proceed through the installation, which again is just a simple yum command. Yum install Centrify DA. And we'll put a -y on the end of this so that we don't have to answer any questions during the installation process. Once again, you can install the direct audit agent as part of Deployment Manager or third-party tool or from a command line as you see here. And now as you can see, we have completed the direct audit agent installation. If I go ahead and rerun the list command that we did earlier, it will now show that not only is the direct control agent installed, but so is the direct audit agent. Now, as we did for the Windows server, we want to go ahead and get some applications and command lines run on this system that can appear in our audit. So I'm going to run just a few. I'm going to run a cat/etc group. That's going to show me my groups. We'll go ahead and run another cat command. Now, since I'm logged in as root, I didn't have to do any kind of elevation or run a sudo or dzdo command. We just simply want to identify what commands are being run on this particular system. We'll also go ahead and do a vi test file.conf, which will obviously open up a new file that I can now edit. I'm just going to go ahead and put in a little bit of text in here. And we'll go ahead and save it. And now I can do a cat of test file. Which will display the file for me. So now I've got that in place. In the next set of technical demonstrations, we'll take a look at these audit sessions a little more closely.